Mr. McElherron, I want to thank you for taking the time to sit down and talk to the Milwaukee Fatherhood Initiative about fatherhood. If you could, just tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do?
I write a column for the editorial page for the Journal Sentinel, which means I wind up going and talking to people, and oddly enough, most of them answer questions, and I come up with opinions.
How long have you been doing it?
I've been doing that about 4 years now. Before that, I'd done other things for newspapers.
Well, great. Well, what we're here for is to talk about fatherhood. And I got a phone call one day from Mr. Terrence Ray, the director of the Milwaukee Fatherhood, and he said, we have to talk to this guy. We've got to talk to him. So I want to just start out right away. It's about fatherhood. Tell me, your father of three, tell me a little bit about your children.
I've got 3 of them. A girl who is in high school, a boy who is in 6th grade, and a girl who is in 4th grade. They're wonderful children. I believe they are the smartest, most beautiful children in the world. And they have been an absolute adventure, without trying to be. I don't want to sound like they're extraordinarily difficult or unusual, because they aren't, other than in the sense that I guess nobody, when you have children, has any idea as to what's going to pass, what's going to transpire. It's every day is an adventure. I was watching some of the videos on your site, people talking about being a father, and I was trying to think, well, is there anything I could generalize about being a father? I don't know. I don't know that there is. I don't know that there's anything you can tell some man, here's what being a father is going to be like, because it's going to be different for everybody. So much of it is shaped by everything that goes on with your children, all the circumstances, the way things go with your family, but boy, it is an adventure in the best sense.
Growing up and raising your children, did you find it difficult influencing them yourselves? You know, oftentimes we're competing with other interests, and sometimes we realize we're losing that battle in terms of influencing our children. Was that difficult for you? Was it hard? How was that?
Oh, and it is difficult, and it's ongoing difficult. The influence battle that I'm losing right now is we're battling the influence of teenage hormones that make children want to sleep in every day, long past the time they're going to have to get up to go to school. I mean, which, okay, you know intellectually that, when kids reach teenhood, they don't want to wake up, and they're much larger, so it's harder to actually, get them out of bed, but boy, howdy, it happens, and there you are. I think that we were kind of really sort of protective parents in terms of media when they were young. They generally didn't watch a lot of TV other than we had videotapes. So they'd watch this videotape or that one, and it's always, well, we knew what was on that tape, and that's what they got to see. But, frankly, as it goes on, as time passes, well, okay, you can watch a little bit of television here, and we still do that. We're careful about what it is the kids watch, but you inevitably loosen up over time.
Do you and your children, do you all talk a lot?
Oh yeah. In the sense of just making sure we chat each day.
Sure.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound again like my wife and I are weird and compulsive about this, but you do have to make a conscious effort. I think, at least I find I do, and Mrs. McElherron does, to make sure that we work in some time to actually talk. And we build it in. I mean, I drive my kids to and from school, the 2 younger ones, because they're obviously going to a different school than the high schooler, but it's a bit of time in the day where, I can ask them, well, how'd school go today? And usually I get some sort of inane answer. What was the best part about school today? Lunch. So you'll get answers like that, but still, it's contact. It's back and forth. You do that at dinner, that sort of thing.
Sure. I want to touch on a subject, and I think some fathers struggle with this, and but it involves telling your children that you love them. And some fathers struggle with that, and we were talking about that before. Growing up, your children growing up in the household and you communicating with them, how easy, how hard was it to express that you loved them individually, talking to each of them without seeming like the corny dad, or, sometimes your children think you're being corny because they don't understand that.
I know exactly what you're saying. I embraced corniness. I embraced the feeling of corniness when it happened, because you're right, it does. It's weird. What are you gonna? Okay, there's this moment. My wife and I were driving. This is when we were engaged, and at one point, because when I was growing up, we just didn't go around saying to family members, "I love you." Like what? This is a new development. You didn't before. You have to say it. But and that was just family culture, and I'm sure that a lot of people are that way. It's sort of that, I don't know, old line Wisconsin reticence. My then fiance was training me out of it, that you actually do have to say this to people. And at one point I turned to her and said, "Love you, dear." And she said, "Are you going to drive off a cliff?" It was so unexpected. And I guess it has that feeling.
Sure.
When you say to your kid, "I love you." At least the first few times, but then you realize, okay, it's supposed to be a little bit corny and a little bit of a break from ordinary life, but that's fine. That's okay, and that's part of it. Because I guess the thing that helped me was I realized that every part of being a father felt weird the first time. Every part of it, because it's something unfamiliar. Every bit of this as you go on, and we've got a 13-year-old, so it's going to even now, she's growing into new things, and every stage she's in high school. That's a new thing. That's weird. It's weird having a high schooler. You don't know what's going to be weird or what's going to be new about it, but you have to embrace that. Yeah, it's going to feel unusual the first time when you do something like say explicitly to your kid, "I love you." But okay, that's fine. It's it's supposed to be a new experience.
I have a question. Did gender play a role in the for lack of a better word, uneasiness? Was it easier to say it to the daughter versus the son, or did you get a different reaction?
No, not really. It's just we got a different reaction, but I don't think it was so much gender as just the kids' radically different personalities.
Okay.
More than anything else, it was just they were different kids and they react in different ways. If anything, our son is a bit more okay with that sort of open expressiveness. I will mention something here, and I'm going to, crusade here. What really helped me on all this, as it has helped me on all the new stuff with dealing with my kids, is that my wife and I are in on it together. I mean, if the thing that a father does, and I don't know what goes into being a good father. I'll be upfront about that. I don't know. I'm still learning. I'm still figuring it out myself. And I don't know that anyone can ever name all those things, because what a father does for children is it's such an old role. It's one that predates civilization. It's something that evolved with humanity. So you can't, I don't know that anyone could come up with a list of here's what fathers do, train it to a robot and the robot would be able to do it. Something would be missing. But all those things, I could not handle any of them, I am sure, without my wife also along for the trip. And I feel I've got enormous sympathy for men who are trying to be fathers without being married. It's got to be incredibly